With the adoption of the Sustainable Development Goals and a new international climate treaty in Paris, 2015 might become a historic year for setting human development on a more sustainable pathway. While sustainable development is an explicit part of the Paris Agreement, taking urgent climate action features as one of the SDGs. But how do these two processes relate to each other? In our letter, we look at SDGs through a climate lens. We argue that the way we address the climate problem strongly affects the prospects of meeting numerous other sustainable energy objectives. Our analysis is based on existing scenarios with different short-term climate policy assumptions. They also differ in their reliance on key mitigation technologies, but all stay below 2 degrees C. We now want to know how delaying ambitious climate policy until 2030 affects the prospects of achieving other SDGs. And what are the effects of constraining the availability of key mitigation technologies, such as limited renewable electricity potential, limited global bioenergy potential, no new nuclear capacity, or unavailability of carbon capture and storage? We summarized the results by comparing such constrained 2-degree pathways to those with immediate mitigation and full availability of mitigation technologies, shown here in gray. We differentiate between those indicators that usually show synergies with growing climate policy ambition on the left side and those that show trade-offs with climate action on the right side. Points closer to the origin imply more synergies and fewer trade-offs. The opposite is true for points outside the gray line. If technologies are constrained, we need to act even faster on climate change to stay below 2 degrees. Which results in more synergies, but also more trade-offs. Limiting technologies that play a bigger role in reaching the long-term climate goal results in both higher additional co-benefits and higher additional risks for other goals. For example, if we rely less on bioenergy in pursuit of food security, some goals, such as air quality, would also be easier to accomplish. In contrast, other goals such as affordable energy would become more difficult to reach. We would also have to decarbonize the economy more quickly by stopping coal power earlier and accelerating the expansion of renewables. Insufficient short-term action, such as the emission reduction pledges submitted by countries so far, lead to higher risks of not meeting other SDGs. Constraining technologies and delaying climate action reinforce each other. Short-sighted climate policy hence reduces our flexibility in managing trade-offs across SDGs. Saving energy, however, can maintain a certain degree of flexibility in managing these trade-offs. A 50% increase in energy efficiency improvements would decrease our dependence on problematic technologies such as CCS and nuclear power roughly by a third. Even short-term economic impacts would be significantly less severe, and food security would be less threatened. In conclusion, SD considerations are central for choosing socially acceptable 2-degree pathways. The longer we wait with ambitious climate policies and the fewer technologies we are willing to use, the more we lower our prospects of reaching other SDGs. We must follow up on the Paris Agreement with prompt but well thought out action to preserve our chances of reaching all SDGs. This letter has been published in Environmental Research Letters and is openly accessible.